then we look at the forms of libraries that we have, the types of libraries that we have. Last week we looked at the types of libraries, but we ended at academic libraries. So just a recap of what we have done so far, so that we continue this week. So we looked at what an information literacy skills is. And we said information literacy skills are just the competences and abilities, the skills needed by a person to enable him or her to know when information is needed, or you are able to get where have access to information, identify where you can find information, retrieve the information, and use the information effectively to solve a particular problem. So the problem can be for educational purpose. As a student, you study information literacy skills to help you get the necessary skills and competencies to be able to get the right information to meet your academic needs. So we looked at the importance of information literacy skills. Why do we study information literacy skills? And we said, as a student, it helps you get the skills necessary to get the right information to be able to understand or read well, widely, to broaden your knowledge on whatever course and add on other courses that you are learning. It's also equipped you with the skills to make good decisions in life. It's also information literacy skills provide lifelong learning. So it helps you throughout your academic life. Even after undergraduate, you want to pursue postgraduate programs, your information literacy skills guides you through your academic journey. It also offers you employable skills. As information literate person, it prepares you with adequate information so that you be adequate knowledge, so you'll be able to function well in the job market, or when you are even employed, it helps you to work effectively. So we want to continue. We looked at what the forms of libraries that we have, and we learned about 3 forms of libraries. We said the traditional form of library is the library that all resources and services in that library is manual. So when you visit the library, everything is manual. You don't find anything electronic. The resources, the service that you get from the librarian is manual. And we have the electronic or digital form of library. So a form of library that's its collections are also in electronic format. So every collection or every material that you get from that library is in electronic form. We looked at please, who is this person? Mute. Please mute for us. Mute for us. So we are continuing. Then we looked at the advantages. We also look at the hybrid form of library. That is a combination of the electronic form of library, then the manual form of library. So it's a form of library that you can get materials in all forms. So you can get materials in electronic format and can also get material in print format. So you have the choice to choose, or you can decide which material you want to use. And we cited the academic library or university library as an example of a hybrid form of library. So when you visit the academic library or university library, you have collections in print and electronic format. So the academic library is hybrid form. We looked at the advantages of all the libraries. So one of the advantages of the traditional form of library, we are saying that the collections are universal. So you can, when you visit that library, you can have access to collections, and the collections are within the library. So you don't need to stress much to look for the information. Once you walk into the library, you have access to the collection. And you can also use the collection without, when there's no power, let's say no electricity, you can still have access to the collection. Then there's advantages. We learned that disadvantages of the traditional form of library sometimes is waste of time, because you can't be at, let's say, your where you are, your home, or the comfort of your home, or even your office, to access the library. It means you have to move to where the library is, and the collections are also limited. And when the collections are limited, it means that it's not everybody who have access to it at the same time. So it's disadvantage. So a lot of disadvantage that we discuss. I'm just recapping what we have learned. Then we looked at the hybrid form of library, that you can have parrot information that you want. Information in the hybrid form is unlimited. Then the electronic library or digital library, the advantage is that you can access the library 24/7 at any time. Once you have access to the internet, you have access to digital resources or electronic systems or electronic devices. So let's say computers, you have access to your computer or your mobile phone, and you have data, you can easily access it. And the library does not close 24/7, you can have access to it. So many people too can access it at the same time. So these are some of what we learned last week or 2 weeks. Then we are looking at last week, we also touched on the types of libraries that we have. So we looked at the school library, and the school library, we have the primary school library, we have the senior high school library, school library. So the basic school library or primary school library is just a library that is found within the primary level or basic level. So mostly these materials in those libraries are made up of, you can find globes, you can find textbooks, you can find storybooks, that's novels and other materials. And the purpose of the library there is to help peoples to learn. Most people use the library, the materials in the library helps students. It even prepares them to read better. They're able to read well when they visit the library. And it also helps teachers. Teachers are able to get materials in the library to prepare well for teaching. And we have the library at the senior high school that are also meant for teachers and pupils and also other staff. And those libraries are also there to meet the teaching and learning needs of students and teachers. And the collections are on textbooks. You can also have reference materials and the rest. We also looked at the academic library. I said another name of academic library is another name of academic library is what? Let me find out from you people. What are the
University.
university library? Very good, Paulina. What's another name for academic? College library? Very good. And these libraries are found in tertiary institutions. So the collections of those libraries are based on the programs that are offered in those tertiary institutions. And we mentioned the services that the libraries renders, those library render. We mentioned a reference, they lend out their materials, they perform a lot of services, assisting users to get the needed information that they want. They provide research support services, electronic support services, so many services that you can get from the academic library. We also looked at special library. Last week, we looked at special libraries. Special libraries are types of libraries that are found in institutions, organizations, and it can be governmental or non-governmental organizations or institutions. And their main purpose is to provide information for staff to function well in their line of work. So that's the function of the um, special library. Let me go back to the academic library. Academic library performs three major functions. Their main function of academic library is to support teaching, learning, and research. And the users of academic libraries are students, they are lecturers, and they are also researchers. So academic libraries support teaching, learning, or you can have scholarship. It's the same thing. So teaching, learning, then research. That's the major function of academic libraries. So we want to look at, continue today by looking at the types of libraries and the public library. So public library is what we want to look at today. So today we are looking at public library, then the national library. So public library are libraries that are found in, or they are set up in our communities. So every community that you are, you can find a library, and that is called a public library. Another name of a public library is People's Library or Poor Man's Library. You can have, it's also called People's University. So with the public library, everyone can use the library, unlike the other libraries that are a bit restricted. So for example, academic library is meant for students, lecturers and researchers, or it's for the academic community of a particular institution. Then we'll also have the school library. We know that it's meant for pupils and teachers in a particular school. And we have the special libraries that are found in institutions and organizations. The public library belongs to everybody, regardless of your age, your gender, your citizenship, your ethnic background. So everybody can use the public library. And the information there is everybody, per your age, you find your information, any age group, you can find your information or the information that you need in the public library. So public library is a library for everybody. It does not discriminate. Whether even if you are a foreigner, you can still have access to the public library, and so be the other libraries. So, but there are some of the libraries that are a bit restricted. They restrict people a bit because their services are just meant for particular people. But for the public library, it's meant for everybody. And those libraries are there to serve or provide information needs for community members. So the information that they provide is for community members. So whatever information that you want relating to culture, relating to entertainment, you want to read novels, you want to get information on politics, whatever is trending in Ghana and the rest of the world, you go to the public library, you can have access to it. And the public library is set up by the Ghana Library Authority. So you have the big libraries, you have librarians that are managing those libraries. Any question? So the collections of the public libraries the collections are mainly on reference materials. So if you say reference materials, they are just collections on, you can get dictionaries, you can get books and other materials that you want. So the public library collections, you can get general textbooks, storybooks, as I mentioned, encyclopedia, dictionary, newspapers, daily newspapers. And some of the public libraries, when you go, you can get information in print and electronic format. So they provide services for, as I mentioned, for community members. So now we have 16 regions, and I'm sure we should have public libraries around all those regions, and even our communities. Sometimes we have access to public libraries. And they offer, when you get there, you have a librarian there to assist you to look for information. And they also lend out some of their materials. So sometimes you have to register. You go and register, they take your details, then they lend out their materials to you. Sometimes you use the library, you want to make photocopy. Some of the libraries have photocopiers or printers. And this library also provides services to other people in the hospital, in prisons. The public libraries sometimes reach out to them to help them know whatever is happening around them. They provide them with storybooks and other information for them to be abreast with whatever is happening around or in the society. They also offer a storytelling session for toddlers, for kids, and other things. So the public library is also very important library. If you don't have any question, if you have a question, you let me know. Or you want clarification, I can explain. Or if there's nothing like that, then I'll move on to the National Library. Any question?
No,
Okay.
madam.
Okay, thank you. So it means you are getting whatever I'm teaching. So we move on to the National Library. So I'm recapping the types of libraries. We have looked at the school library. And under the school library, we have basic or primary school library, we have secondary school library. We also looked at the national and academic library. And we are saying academic library, another name for academic library is university library or college library. And these libraries are found in tertiary institutions. So when you go to the universities, the teacher training nurses training colleges, they are all tertiary institutions. You go to the polytechnics, they are all tertiary institutions. So libraries there are called academic, university, or college libraries. Then also looked at the special libraries. We say libraries that are found in institutions, organizations, and they provide information to aid or help staff to function well. And their collections are based on the work that is done by a particular institution. So when you go to a law firm, the library in a law firm, it means that all collections will be on law, will be on politics, and the rest. You go to a bank, a library, visit a bank, and you want to access their library. The collections will be on banking, accounting, management, and the rest. So it depends on the work that their particular institution does. And the library also provides collections to support staff to function well in that organization or institution. Then we have a national library. So the National Library is the largest library of a country. the National Library provides collections. So it has the largest collection of than all the libraries that we have looked at. And the National Library is set up by the government of that particular country. So the collections of the National Library are based on the publications or books or materials that are published about that country and on that country. So anything that is, for example, if Ghana, we have a national library, any publication in Ghana and about Ghana can be found in the National Library. So it keeps, so we say it keeps the bibliographic records of a particular country. So all publications, all books that are published about Ghana and in Ghana can be found in the National Library. And we have examples of national libraries. So we have the British Library, that is a national library. We have in the United States, their national library is called the Library of Congress. They will have the National Library of South Africa. We have National Library of Australia. Ghana is not having a national library, but there is a library that is acting as a national library. And that library is called the George Padmore Memorial Library. In your manual, this is how it is. It is, and it's the same thing. It can also be called George Padmore George Padmore Research Library on African Affairs. So it's the same thing. It is George Padmore Memorial Library or George Padmore Research Library on African Affairs. So this library, George Padmore Memorial Library, is acting as the National Library of Ghana. Ghana is not having a national library, but there's a library that is acting as a National Library of Ghana, and the name is George Padmore Memorial Library. So we look at the functions of the National Library. The National Library performs a lot of functions. So the National Library we'll call a function as a legal deposit. So it's a copyright that ensures that it has the copyright that ensures that anybody who writes a book or who authors a book in Ghana is expected to deposit a copy at the National Library. So it's a legal deposit. When you do any publication, write any book in Ghana, you are expected to deposit a copy at the National Library. And if you refuse to do that, you'll be fined. You will pay a fee. So the National Library serves as a legal deposit. So that's one of its functions. Then also compile the national bibliography. So bibliography is just a list of publications of authors with titles. So the National Library compile all publications that is done in Ghana and then about Ghana. So compiling the publications with authors and the titles of the materials, the year of publication. It has records of everything. So we say the National Library compiles the national bibliography. So national bibliography, just a compilation of publications by authors. And it is also trained library personnel to provide practical training, mostly for national library personnel. When you take a book, there's always a number. You see, the Food and Drugs Board, there's like a trademark. You can get, when you want to see whether a particular food is good for you to consume. You normally have to check for the trademark or the identification number of the Ghana Food and Drugs Board, or Ghana. Yes, it's the same. The same thing applies to books. If you want to check whether a particular book is authentic or a particular book is produced in Ghana, the National Library provides the international book number for publications in Ghana. So they manage that, they provide the international book number for books that are published in Ghana. So as an author, if you don't get that number, it means that your book is not standard. So though they provide those numbers, they also provide it for other serials, other publications. So the National Library provides a lot of materials. They also provide materials on reference, general reference materials. So when you visit the National Library, you have a lot of materials. You also have materials like encyclopedias, dictionaries, textbooks, and a lot. So that's the National Library. As I mentioned, Ghana is not having a national library, and there's a library that is acting as the National Library of Ghana, and the library is called George Padmore Memorial Library. Any question on the National Library? Any question on what we've done so far? If you don't understand anything, you can let me re-explain it for you to understand it better. Or else I have to move to another slide. Yes. Your hand is up. Yarira. Yes. Yes.
Why is Ghana not having the national library? Is there anything Ghana covered?
Okay. I said the National Library is established by the government of a particular country. Then we listed, we looked at countries that have some countries that have national libraries. So the National Library is set up by the government of a particular country. So they set up the library. And Ghana has not got a national library. I don't have much knowledge on why they have not been able to establish a national library, but there's a library that is acting as one. So for now, we can say there's a library that is acting as a national library, but there's no national library in Ghana. So that is it.
Thank you.
I don't know whether it's finances. I don't know of, I can't tell, but there's the issue. So if no question, we'll move on to another topic. So let me share my slides now. So just a minute, and let me share my slides.
Okay, madam.
You know why. Please, can you see my screen?
Yes, please.
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay. So we want to look at today we are looking at general reference materials. So our next topic is on information sources and their uses. Information sources and their uses. I hope we should have that on your. So there are materials in the library, or resources in the library. Okay, resources in the library also includes, we have general reference materials. So there are encyclopedias, there are dictionaries, atlases, directories, textbooks, novels, periodicals, bulletin. There are many. And these materials can be in print and in electronic format. So it means that these materials, you can get them in print. You can also get some in non-print, or they are in electronic form. So library reference sources are grouped in two types. So we have two types of reference sources, or library reference resources. So we have the directional search tools. Then we have the source type. Directional search tools, they are just materials that direct, they lead or guide people or someone to where the information can be found. But those materials sometimes do not contain the actual information that you want. They serve as a guide, they lead, they direct. So information in them rather points to where you can get the major information. But some of them do not contain the actual information that you want. So for example, bibliographies. Bibliographies, when we're looking at the types of national libraries, I mentioned the types of libraries and the National Library. We said the National Library compiles national bibliography. And I explained that bibliography is just a compilation of works or publications by authors. So in bibliography, you can find bibliographies of, let's say, for example, bibliographies of authors. So it contains all publications that are written by authors. So in the bibliography, you can find the name of the author, you can find the title of the book or the material that the person has written on, and the year. So apart from that, you not find any information on it. So you use that to now look for the actual information that you need. So if you have a lecturer who has written about a particular book, you want to look at the number of books that the person has written, you contact the bibliography. The bibliography will give you the name of the author, or the name of the lecturer, and what the books that the person has written, or the materials that the person has written. It will list them. So it helps you to know much about what is published in your subject area. And as you look at it, it helps you to also now locate where you can get those materials, the actual materials, but they don't contain information. And we have indexes. Indexes also it points to where information can be found. They don't contain information. But abstracts contain a bit information, not much, just highlight or summary of information. So all these materials, reference material, we call them directional search tools. So directional search tools do not contain information. They direct or point to where information can be found. Then we have the source type. The source type, they contain the actual information that you want. So we are saying the library reference materials, they are in two groups. We have directional search tools. Directional search tools, another name for it is control access directional. And the directional search tools, they don't contain information. They are materials that do not contain information. They lead, they point, they direct where information can be found. So, for example, we have bibliographies, we have indexes, we have abstracts. Those materials to direct where you can find the actual information. Then the source type is where you can find the main information that you are looking for. So, for example, dictionaries, encyclopedias, journals, thesaurus. Then we have textbooks. They are all examples of reference material. We also have bulletin, reports. There are many. They are all examples of the source type. They contain the information that one needs. We want to look at what is a reference materials. What's a reference materials? Or what are reference materials? What is a reference material? Or what are reference materials? So reference materials are just materials or information sources that contain facts, and they are brought together for quick and easy access. So these materials are written by experts who are well versed in their various subject areas, and the reference materials are brought from various sources. So you can find every subject, various subjects areas, and they are brought together for quick and easy access. So those materials, when you are using reference materials, means it just reference, you make reference to it, you refer. It just to, let's say you are reading and you want to find out the meaning of a word, you want to know the origin of a word, you just make reference to those materials, and you can't read it widely like you are reading your textbooks or you are reading your main course books. No. Reference materials, you just make reference, you glance through it, get the facts, the main information that you want, then you put it aside. The characteristics of reference materials, so they are just meant to be consulted. So there are some in the library. We said the reference materials, some are in print, some are in electronic format. So in the library, you can, those that are found in the library, you can just get them, use them for a specific purpose, whatever you want to use. And the time using it is very limited because it's just a glance. You want to double check, cross check, or get better understanding of a particular word, to make reference of that material. Then, so those there are also reference materials that can be found online. So they are electronic form and the same purpose. There are some that are in print, there are some that are in electronic format. So you can even download. These days, that's what we do. We go to Google download these reference materials, and sometimes you just make reference on them. They are on your laptop. Some are even on our phones. So we just make reference to those materials. So they can be in print and they can be in electronic format. And you can read them from page to page. You just open to a particular page, then you get the information that you need. So we have types of reference, examples of reference materials. So we have dictionaries, we have encyclopedias, we have indexes, abstracts, bibliographies, maps, atlases, periodicals. They are all reference materials. We want to look at, so any question? If there's no question, then we are moving on. So reference materials are the arrangement of reference material. Most reference materials are arranged alphabetically. They are arranged alphabetically. Let me see what I have. So arrangement of reference materials. Some of them are arranged alphabetically. Some are chronological. And some are also classified. So, for example, if you take a dictionary is a reference material and it is arranged alphabetically from A to Z. Then dictionary it contains set of books, and that provides meaning of words, phrases, and as I mentioned, it's arranged alphabetically. And this they aid in the helping somebody to know the spelling of words, the meaning of words, and how words can be used or even pronounced. So dictionaries are reference materials. They are arranged alphabetically, and they help in the pronunciation, they help in spelling, they provide meaning and usage to words. We have types of dictionaries. We have general dictionaries. So this dictionary covers all subject areas. So for the general dictionary, for example, we have the Oxford, the Cambridge Dictionary. They are all general dictionaries, and they cover subject all subject areas. Then we have the specific subject dictionary. So every subject has a dictionary, and this dictionary covers specific subjects, and they help you to get terminologies or terms and they provide definition of terms. It can be we can have a medical dictionary, we can have science dictionary, dictionary of like geography dictionary and the rest. And they provide detailed information on the specific subjects that you are looking for. Then we have specialized dictionary. Specialized dictionary is for professionals. So let's say the medical profession, law, and the rest, they have specialized dictionaries. Then we have translation dictionaries. So dictionaries that contain so many languages. So you can get one word and it can be translated from English to Arabic to maybe Spanish and others. So yeah, they call them translating dictionaries. Uses of dictionaries. So as we mentioned earlier, we are saying that dictionary helps us to define words, verify spellings, how to pronounce. It helps us to pronounce words correctly, and the usage of words is also a dictionary also helps to do that. And the origin of words, how a particular word originated. A dictionary dictionary contains that. So if you want how a particular word came to be, when you consult a dictionary provides that. Then, as I mentioned, these materials are in print and electronic format. We move on to bibliographies. So bibliography, I've explained it over and over and over again. So it's just a list of books, and they are systematically arranged. Bibliographies are also arranged alphabetically, and they are just lists of books or publications by authors. It can be by authors, it can be by subject areas. So any list of publications by authors on based on titles of their publications, they're all bibliographies. And most bibliographies are arranged alphabetically. Then we have types of bibliographies. We have the author, so a list of publications or work that is done by a particular author. It's an author dictionary and bibliography. Then we have subject bibliography, and this one are just restricted to specific subject areas. So if you want to know your subject area, what publication or works that have been written on your subject area, when you consult the subject bibliography, it gives you information or topics on whatever topics that is written in a particular subject area, you become aware of it. Then we have the national bibliography. The national bibliography, that's the list of publications in a country or about a country in a given year. So publications, so Ghana, we have the national bibliography, and it contains publications about Ghana and in Ghana in a particular year. So let's say last year, 2025, we can have a national bibliography of that, containing all publications in a particular year. Then we have so any question before I move on? Any question?
No, madam.
Madam, please, I don't understand the bibliography.
You don't understand bibliography? Okay. Let me know the person asking this question. Who is this?
Sandra Dugbate.
Sandra. Okay, okay. That's fine. So bibliography. I'm saying that bibliographies are just the list of publications. List that contains publications. It's publications of authors, publications by authors on subject areas. They are all bibliographies. So a list of books that are published by an author. And then when I was explaining the national bibliography, I said list of books, all books that are published in Ghana and about Ghana. So they compile it, compilation of books by authors. So let's say you, Sandra, you have written a book, you have written about 20 books, and want to know the books that you have written. We'll consult the bibliography. Bibliography will give us your name. So and it's arranged alphabetically. So your name comes, the work that you have done, the title of your work, then the year of publication. So it will list all the works that you have published. It will list them. So let's say, Sandra, you have written books in Ghana about Ghana, or you are even in Ghana, you have published books, about 20 books. There's a book that compiles all the publications that you have done, and that is and that is the bibliography. So compilation of publications by authors. It can also be by authors on specific subjects. So they are just compilation of materials. So that's the bibliographies. And we are saying that the bibliography is directional search too, because bibliographies do not contain information. They will just provide you the list of information that publications that a particular author has done, but it doesn't contain information. So when you pick that Sandra has written a book on this and it's this year. So now let me now look for the book. Then you now look for the book because you know that Sandra has written a book and the title of the book is this, and it is this particular year that Sandra wrote it. But the bibliography doesn't contain information. It will just give you this. So you having this, you can go further to look for the actual information. So compilation, listing of publications by authors. That is bibliography. I hope you are clear now.
Yes, please. I understand.
Okay. Please, any further question? If there's no question, we are moving on to who is talking? Nana. Nana, yeah.
Yes, man. I want to ask if before the information gets to the biography, does it have to pass through some process or it's someone's job to do? Because if I publish a book, do I have to go to some centers before it gets to that place to make sure they have my details about the whole book?
No, it doesn't have to. Now, because of the internet, Nana, when you publish a book now, when I just Google your name, it will give me the bibliography. If I just Google, say I want the bibliography of Nana, it will give me, and I mention your full name, it will list the materials for me. But we also have one in print form that somebody does it. Somebody sit down to also catalog or list all the publications. So for example, the National Library that I mentioned. So if Nana, you wrote a book about Ghana, so it means the National Library will have to, let's say this year, 2026, the National Library, if it's compiling publications in Ghana in 2026, it will include your name. And this one is in a print form. So we have the print form, then we have the electronic format. So if you want the print form, when you go to the National Library, they will show you the print form. They'll compile it for you to see. It's in the book form. So when you open the book, and it's arranged alphabetically according to authors. But we also have subject subject bibliography. So it's based on each subject and what the authors have also written under them, each subject. They also list them. But now, because of internet, mostly we don't even have to take the pain to travel to Accra to go and look for that. When you Google about your bibliography, it will list all the publications for you. The publications that you have done, it will list for you. And these days we even have it as Google Scholar. You go to Google Scholar. If you have published Google Scholar does that. It just brings your name, the title of your work, then the year of publication, and that is a bibliography. It compiles it according to authors. Any question? So if there's no question, then we are moving on. Hey, today's like today's my class is how many people do I have? 23. Still, I'm expecting more. Some have gone to join other groups. Okay. Then we have the book trade. So we have also the book trade. And these ones are also publications, list of publications on a particular please a minute and let me talk to it. Sorry. So we also have the book trade so the national bibliographies, so we have looked at the national bibliography containing all list of publications in a particular work, year. Then we also have the book trade, and mostly this one is also just listing of publications or publications on various organizations, list of works and the various organizations in a particular country. They will also have the publishers catalog. The publishers catalog is also another reference materials. So publishers have lists of authors and or books that have been written by a particular author. So they also have lists of them. So they call them publishers catalog. Want to look at uses of bibliographies. The bibliographies are useful for searching of information on a specific subject or a particular person, as I explained. So if you want to know the particular works that are done in your subject area, or by a particular person or an author, when you use the bibliography, it helps you to know what somebody has published or somebody has done. It also helps you to know the scope or the works that are done in a particular subject area. And they also provide a means to verify the details of publications. So if you want to know more about publications, when you contact the bibliographies, you are able to get the information, then you look for details information on the main subject areas or the main public work. Then we have encyclopedias are also reference materials. So encyclopedia also contains set of books. And mostly encyclopedias are written by experts or people who are experts in a particular field. And these are also information, they contain varieties of topics. So encyclopedia presents information in the form of short essays, and they are also arranged alphabetically. So encyclopedia is a set of books or number sets of books containing a summary of information written by experts in a variety of topics. And they provide information in short essay forms or in a summary, a form of a summary, and mostly they are arranged alphabetically. So we have types of encyclopedias. So we have the general one. General encyclopedia covers all subject areas. Do you have another lecture? My time is up. It's
Yes,
9:30
please.
already. Okay. Then God willing, next week. Okay. Or if you have any question. Okay. Then enjoy your
Bye-bye.
week. Okay, bye.